Today, I want to speak to you not as a member of any political party, not as a partisan figure, but as a citizen. A citizen who, like you, loves his country and believes deeply in its promise. Our nation was built on the principles of liberty, justice, and equal representation. A country where diverse voices could come together to solve common problems. Yet today, we find ourselves more divided than ever. The ideological walls between left and right have grown so high that many Americans can no longer see what connects them. We see it in our communities, our schools, our families, and even our workplaces. A growing hostility that erodes our sense of unity. This polarization has paralyzed our Congress, stoked unrest in our streets, and fueled a deep disillusionment with our institutions. But I believe, and I want you to believe, that division is not our destiny. America's strength has always come from our ability to evolve, to adapt, and to rebuild when we're drifted way too far apart. It's time we take the next step in that evolution. So I propose a new path forward, one that redefines how we govern, how we legislate, and how we restore faith in democracy itself. I call it the dual solution plan, a system in which every major law, bill, or policy must present two parallel solutions, one grounded in democratic principles and one grounded in Republican principles. This framework doesn't erase our differences. It respects them. It allows both sides to present their vision, their philosophy, and their ideas, not as enemies, but as contributors to a shared experiment in self-government. Let me explain why this change could transform America and how it would work. Under the dual solution model, no bill will be introduced in Congress without bipartisan authorship, meaning that for every Democratic version of a policy, there must be a Republican counterpart. For example, if one party proposes a healthcare reform emphasizing public programs, the other could submit a version that strengthens private competition. Both would be debated, both would be scored for cost and impact, and both would be presented clearly to the public. This approach forces communication where silence and hostility currently reign. It will make gridlock unacceptable and dialogue mandatory. Imagine legislators sitting across the table not to destroy each other's ideas, but to refine their own, to build understanding and demonstrate to the American people that governance is still possible through reason, respect, and responsibility. For too long, millions of Americans have felt that their voices don't matter unless their party is in power. That is not how democracy should function. A dual solution plan guarantees that every major issue, from education to energy, from taxation to national security, both political perspectives are represented equally. When people see their views reflected in policy debates, trust begins to return. Representation is not about always winning, it's about always being seen. This system gives every voter, regardless of party, a real stake in the process. It restores the feeling that government works for them, not for corporations, not for lobbyists, not for party machines, but for the people themselves. Our current system rewards division. The louder, the angrier, the more extreme, the more attention and political capital a candidate gains. But this cycle has left our nation exhausted. By requiring two balanced solutions on every issue, the dual solution framework shifts the incentive away from extremism and toward practicality. Each side must present an idea capable of winning the public's confidence. The moment one side proposes something too radical, the other will have the opportunity to offer a more reasoned, attainable alternative. Over time, this competition will naturally elevate moderation, the kind of pragmatic problem-solving that most Americans crave. This will not eliminate debate, but it will make debate productive again. We will no longer fight over who is more right, but over who can deliver better results. One of the greatest weaknesses in our government today is that when a policy fails, the entire system stalls. We spend months or years trying to rebuild from scratch. A dual solution plan changes that, with two pre-vetted options always available. If one law fails to deliver its intended outcome, the alternative can be quickly implemented without starting over. For example, if a Democratic infrastructure plan underperforms, the Republican version could be activated as a secondary model, allowing progress to continue. This kind of redundancy is common in engineering, in technology, in business. It's how we safeguard critical systems. Why shouldn't our government function with the same foresight? By building resilience into policymaking, America becomes more agile, more adaptive, and far more capable of meeting the complex challenges of a changing world. Under the dual solution system, voters will be able to clearly see which policies came from which party and how effective they were. No longer will politicians hide behind vague promises or blame their opponents for every setback. When a policy succeeds, the public will know exactly who to thank. When it fails, they'll know who to hold accountable. This transparency will empower the electorate like never before. Imagine being able to open a public database showing side-by-side comparisons of policy outcomes. Which plan lowered healthcare costs more? Which tax reform created more jobs? Which energy plan cut emissions faster? Knowledge is power, and when citizens are informed, democracy thrives. At its core, the dual solution plan isn't just about policy, it's about healing. For years, Americans have been taught to view one another as adversaries. Social media amplifies outrage, cable news profits from division, and politicians exploit our fears for votes. This plan changes the tone. It requires both parties to stand before the nation, side by side, and say, "Here are our ideas, not our insults." By putting substance before spin, we remind ourselves that disagreement is not disloyalty, it's democracy in its purest form. The day Americans can look at two opposing plans and debate ideas instead of identities, that's the day we begin to heal. Innovation is a lifeblood of progress, and yet our political system has stifled it. When one party controls government, the other often sits idle, waiting to reclaim power rather than contributing new ideas. A dual solution model ends that stagnation. Lawmakers will be challenged to outthink, outdesign, and outperform one another on every single issue. Imagine the same spirit of innovation that built Silicon Valley, launched the space race, and drove America's industrial revolution, now applied to governance. This competitive, solution-driven model would spark a renaissance of policy creativity. Instead of recycled talking points, we'd see original frameworks, data-driven experiments, and real-world results. Democracy only works when citizens feel their voices matter. Today, voter turnout lags, young people are disengaged, and faith in government has fallen to historic lows. People feel trapped in a binary system where neither option reflects their true values. By presenting two clearly articulated solutions for every single issue, we reignite civic engagement. Voters will once again have meaningful choices based on merit, not party loyalty. Town halls will come alive with real debate. Schools will teach students not just who to vote for, but how to think critically about competing ideas. This is how we strengthen the foundation of the republic, by giving power back to the people, not just to the parties. Let's face it, trust in government has eroded. Many Americans believe their leaders care more about winning elections than solving problems. But when people see the representatives cooperating, competing constructively, and being held accountable, that trust can return. The dual solution plan symbolizes a government that listens. It shows that both sides can coexist in one chamber, under one flag, serving one people. And when the public witnesses genuine effort, not just rhetoric, faith in our institutions will rise again. That trust is essential. Without it, even the best ideas crumble. With it, we can rebuild anything. To bring this system to life, we will begin by piloting the dual solution model in select congressional committees, focused on bipartisan issues like infrastructure, veteran affairs, and education. Each committee will be tasked with presenting two solutions per issue, both fully drafted and cost analyzed. The public would then review and provide input before final votes. Over time, this model could expand to all major legislation, eventually reshaping how Congress operates. It's ambitious, yes, but every great American reform once was. From the Constitution itself to the Civil Rights Act, our history is defined by those who dare to improve the system from within. My fellow Americans, this plan is not about Democrats versus Republicans. It's about us, the people who make up this extraordinary nation. It's about restoring faith in a government that serves everyone, not just those who shout the loudest. It's about proving that our democracy is strong enough to evolve, wise enough to learn, and bold enough to lead. We can be the generation that ends the politics of hate and ushers in an era of competition, cooperation, and collective purpose. The American story has always been one of renewal. Every time we have faced division after the Civil War, during the Great Depression, amid the turmoil of the 1960s, we have found our way back to unity, to progress, to greatness. We can do it again, but only if we choose to listen, to reason, and to lead with courage. Let us reject the false choice between left and right, and embrace the true choice between stagnation and progress, between despair and hope, between division and destiny. My friends, the time has come for a new chapter in our democracy, one where ideas compete, truth prevails, and America rises once more as a beacon of unity and strength.